What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The name is Biff. I have to get something off my chest, you know? I love comedy. I love Norm Macdonald. And I would say, and so here's the thing. Netflix hates Norm Macdonald. This is the title of this video. To be more specific, it should be called Netflix bought Norm Macdonald's best content he ever made, and then they removed it from the internet, made it illegal to be streamed. Okay, so that's some fucking bullshit. And now I want to get into why I would say such a thing. I wrote a little bit of a loose script, so bear with me here. I'm sorry if I'm looking a little bit bizarre, but that's just my energy. I can't help it. Norm has a show and a special on Netflix. Seems like they are in good standing, so why would I say such a thing? When people talk about what Norm's best content was, you will get a lot of different answers, because Norm was the best. Many will say Weekend Update. Others will say, of course, his Letterman and Conan appearances, or his Howard Stern appearances. But the real connoisseur and the real Norm appreciator will let you know that funnier than all of it, and most pure and in its truest form, was his free YouTube podcast, Norm Macdonald's Live, specifically season 1. That's right, Fat Norm, okay? Whether you agree with that or not is besides the point. Fact is, we can all agree the podcast was absolutely amazing and certainly a highlight of Norm's career. I mean, people love it. And here we come to Netflix. Netflix loves comedy, right? I mean, they have more specials than the Special Olympics, for God's sakes. Sorry. So why would I say they hate Norm? Well, it seems like if you loved Norm, here's what you wouldn't do. When they offered Norm a huge sum of money, in the millions, to do a season of his podcast on Netflix, with that and within the deal, they bought all the rights to the first 3 seasons he did for free on YouTube. So they removed the show from YouTube, made it illegal to stream essentially, and made it illegal to upload it. Now, we don't know how these negotiations went, but I wouldn't be surprised if they told Norm they bought the seasons with the intention to stream it on Netflix. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Why wouldn't they? Think about it. They love comedy. The show is funny, so why not? What's a plausible reason why they would buy these seasons but then not stream them? I mean, it just seems odd. The practice of paying somebody to disappear is more common in show business than you would think. Even super talented comedians like Harland Williams, who would improve any comedy they were in, you'd think they'd have the most work in anybody in Hollywood. They get offered all these voiceover animation gigs, which I'm sure is great money, and probably Harland loves it. I mean, but essentially it has no trace of Harland Williams' brilliance in it. It's like throwing money at him to make him disappear. Also, what comes to mind, one of the funniest active people today, Danny McBride, who they will offer odd things like directing Alien or Halloween, which I'm sure he's capable of, and he probably loves it too. But his strength is obviously comedy. Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, all his cameos in movies are absolutely highlights, and to throw money at Danny to tie him up for 5 years doing horror, that's a hard word, I'm sorry, horror, and sci-fi movies, just seems odd to me, I'm sorry. Today, Danny does the Gemstones, which is amazing and I love it. But with such a huge cast, the Danny McBride funny content gets stretched a little thin in there, to be honest. But I love it. It is a great show. I wouldn't hate on it. I'll watch it. Back to Norm. I would love to hear an explanation from Netflix why they don't show Norm's season 1 to 3. I mean, why can't we see that? I love it. I'd love it to be back on YouTube where people can... You know, I enjoy reading comments. You know, it's not for everybody, but I like it. It's an absolute fan favorite, funny from beginning to end. What's the problem? And it's especially hurtful since when you watch the landscape of political correctness, increasingly strict rules of what's allowed to say, you start to think, damn, I'm not sure if Norm's jokes would still be allowed on YouTube. But because Netflix did this, YouTube doesn't even have to ban Norm to make him disappear, which would, if they did that, that would cause a lot of public interest. It would spark a conversation, and everybody would hate that decision. But no need, because Netflix bought it and made it illegal to stream. And to be clear, if we watch this from Norm's perspective, he thinks of his kid, sees an opportunity to cash in, make some big money. Of course I understand that. I'm not questioning Norm's decision in any way. I hope that's obvious. I'm talking about Netflix buying his greatest work and making it disappear. I mean, what the heck, man? And to keep his Netflix money, they even made him go on an apology tour, saying using the word autism was inexcusable and so horrific. Norm's fans say it was genius of him because he trolled them, because he kind of made the apology in a subtle way, so ridiculous that, I mean, what the fuck is even happening? And I'm sure some of that is in there. I think that's a fair enough point. But still, they humiliated Norm. And that includes Howard Stern as much as it includes The View and the rest of them. And I can't help but think that Norm did this to secure this money for his kid, you know, which obviously, who could blame him for that? So, no. Norm kept true to himself to the very end. He's a legend. We love him. We would like to see his show. There are clip channels who have the show clipped in tiny little joke by joke on YouTube. Thank God, I love it. But why just can't we have the shows? I mean, I don't even agree that it should be legal to pay something in that way to make it disappear. Like always like, I remember when he got fired from SNL, it was like they still paid him, but they said, you're not allowed to go on another network and work, you know, in our competition. And I don't think that should be legal, because if you think he's bad, you fire him, you get him off the air, so you think he's not good, so then you should be happy if he's with the competition. But that's not the reason they make him disappear. They know he's good and make him disappear. So I think that's a lot of, you know, questionable stuff. I just had to get this off my chest. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Biff. Oink.